UFC 307, Pereira versus Rountree takes place this weekend, and I'm going to go through the entire card, starting with the early prelims, ending with the main event, giving my prediction and breakdown for every single fight on the card, starting with the early prelim opener of, and we're going to do well this card on predictions. We're starting with Tim Means versus Court McGee. Now, something very important to note about this fight card is that this is at altitude, and a lot of these fights have been sort of not given a full training camp. In fact, the majority of these fights haven't been given a full training camp, and a lot of them have just been sort of added to the card on like short notice. So that's something that we definitely need to consider when talking about this card. We're starting with Tim Means versus Court McGee. Tim Means, Court McGee. Very 50-50 fight. Both guys are very old. We got, I believe, 39-year-old Court McGee on here. This is where we're at in the UFC right now. We've got Tim Means, who's 40. Now, guys, I'm not going to, I'm not going to assume there's going to be a wicked first round finish here, you guys. Just going to take that guess, okay? Like we saw against Andre Fialho from Tim Means. He broke him in the third round and eventually got a TKO in that fight. But other than that, Tim Means has not had an early finish since 2019 against Thiago Alves, where he got a guillotine. I don't see him finishing Court McGee early. I also don't see Court McGee getting a finish over Tim Means early. And also, Court McGee, although he's been chinned at times by a big, powerful athlete in Jeremiah Wells and the guy who's got like the most knockouts in the UFC, bar Derek Lewis, he might even be tied with him in Matt Brown. He's very difficult to finish as well. They both fought Alex Morono. Court McGee took him to a decision and kept competitive. He lost the decision unanimously, but he kept in the fight, whereas Tim Means got finished in the second round of that fight. I think neither of them are going to get a finish here. I think Court McGee is less finishable than Tim Means in this fight. And when I'm thinking this fight is going to go to a decision. And Court McGee's 39 and way past his prime. And Tim Means is 40-year-old and way past his prime. I'm looking at the fact that Court McGee trains out of Salt Lake City, Utah. Full time. Not right next to it or not right in Salt Lake City, but on like a small town just outside of Salt Lake City. Cool. And he trains at the Pitt Elevated Fight Team. And he trains in Orem, Utah, which is a town just outside of it. He was born and raised in Ogden, Utah. They need to be a bit more creative with their names out there, but that's just north of the outside of Salt Lake City. I'm liking that, you guys. I'm really liking that. And I'm also looking at the fact that with Tim Means, he's like normally a guy who likes to keep things at range. He's taller than Court McGee. He's got a shorter reach. I'm liking Court McGee's chances here. I think he's going to get this one done. I can see him working a very boring cage control game, failing some takedowns, just winning the pressure game of, being the more offensive wrestler in moments, being able to push in the later rounds. I'm going to say Court McGee wins this one by decision, and I'm pretty confident in it. It's a very close fight, but I'm going to go with him. We move on. Ovince Preux versus Ryan Spann. Now, Ryan Spann has negative IQ. His decision-making in fights is awful, consistently. OSP is done. Like, he's finished out here. Nearly lost to Shogun Hua. You know what I mean? Like, and that was recently as well. I'm not talking about this guy nearly lost to Shogun in 2010. Like, no. This guy, he beat Kennedy Nzechukwu recently. But again, Nzechukwu is dumb. I'm not... People may notice a trend on who I'm calling dumb here, but I'm just saying... He doesn't do what needs to be done in fights either. He'll just let a fight get away from him without changing anything about it whatsoever. No fight IQ whatsoever there. I'm going to go with Owe. I'm going to go with Ryan Spann, you guys. I've got a good feeling that he's going to KO Ovince Preux. He's a big power striker. He's very explosive. I don't see OSP getting takedowns in this fight. And if it's going to be a stand-up fight, I'm going to go Ryan Spann. I know he lost to Anthony Smith in the rematch because he refused to throw any leg kicks against the man whose biggest weakness is leg kicks. That's what I'm talking about with the IQ of some of these top-level fighters that are oftentimes in the top 15 of their weight class in the world. But I'm going to go Ryan Spann. I'm going to say that he chins Ovince Preux brutally. and retires him for good. Ovince St. Preux, how old at this point in his career? He's 41 years of age. So I'm going to go against him here, you guys. And I'm going to go with Ryan Spann getting a big tasty knockout on the early prelims after a boring early prelim opener of Means versus McGee. We move on. Carla Esparza versus Tecia Pennington. I'm kind of torn over who to pick here, but I'm going to have to go with Carla Esparza. Like, there's not much value in any of these. I'm going to have to go with Carla Esparza, really. It's just a no-brainer. She beat Rose, even though it was a nothing... Do I even say that, though? It was a nothing fight where literally nothing happened in the fight. Nothing. But it's also a chance to maybe pick an underdog because Tecia Torres... Carla's the underdog here, is she? I don't look at odds before I make picks. So I have my picks, but then I like to check odds live on video for some reason. I'm going to go Esparza. I know Tecia Pennington is like a more athletic girl out of the two of them. But, more committed to the game right now, I'd argue Carla Esparza. I'm looking at Carla Esparza's recent record, and it's not looking too shabby. I'm going to be honest with you guys. There's some sneaky good wins on here. I know she got dominated by Zhang Weili and absolutely embarrassed, I understand. But I'm looking at a win over Yan Xiaonan by TKO. You know, Zhang Weili just took that girl to a decision. That was in 2021. A win over Marina Rodriguez, who's on this card as well. Very, very close fights in a lot of these, but she got a win over Alexa Grasso. That was ages ago. Do we even count it? But I'm going to trust the more committed fighter to the game if they're going to be competing at altitude and it's a women's fight, and it's probably going to go to a decision. So, but man, I think Tecia's faster and more explosive of an athlete. Oh, I hate everything about this. I hate it all. I don't like this in any way whatsoever, guys. I'm not happy about this. This is annoying me. God, it's such a stupid sport. Tecia did just go to a split with Tabitha Ricci and Mackenzie Dern. And beat Angela Hill. And she fought recently. So she's back. I might switch my pick. The more I think about this, even though I'm looking at losses on the record of Tecia Torres, I'm thinking, dude, Dern's difficult for women to deal with. Yan Xiaonan, Marina Rodriguez, Tabitha Ricci's... Tecia arguably won both of those fights. I thought she won both of those fights. Yeah. That's a good win over Angela Hill, you guys. You know what? I'm going to go with... Oh, God. Why is it hurting me to say this? I just don't see the speed out of Esparza. And Torres is really good at wrestling. And she's really good at getting back up to her feet. And she's got really good scrambles. And she moves way better. And I'm seeing the pair of them in my mind right now. I just thought of Carla Esparza. Sorry. No, I'm joking. I'm seeing a pair of them moving around the cage in my eyes right now. And they're making out in this. No, I'm joking. Tecia Torres, I think, is just a better fighter. And Raquel Pennington just got the belt. And now she's training with her. That's a really good training partner. And they do, I hear they do extra rounds at night, you guys. I'm joking. I'm going to go with Tecia Torres, though, actually. Tecia Pennington. My bad. Tecia Pennington. I'm going to go with her. Based on her preferences, I don't think she's going to go with me. But I'm going to go with Tecia Pennington here over Carla Esparza, you guys. God, I might regret that, but I'll go with that. I actually thought Esparza was a decent underdog, but the more I'm visualizing it, I'm switching to Pennington. We've got crazy, wacky, zany switch-ups in the middle of the card, you guys. You never know what's going to happen in these full card prediction videos. We move on because it's nearing 10 minutes. Alexander Hernandez versus Austin Hubbard. Austin Hubbard trains at elevation. Alexander Hernandez always gasses out, but he's actually quite dangerous and probably better than Austin Hubbard by far. God, I hate this card. I hate altitude. I don't like it. He trains at Elevation Fight Team. He did beat Roosevelt Roberts by split decision, which Ludovic Klein nearly just did. You know what I mean? That was a close fight. Lost to Kurt Hollibar, though, and got whooped by Kurt Hollibar. pressure, power striker early. But altitude, he beat Mikhail Figlak, who's pretty good, but I thought he lost that fight, but he got given that fight. I like Alexander Hernandez at lightweight. Am I going to apply altitude to one and not the other here? I might just sweep up the altitude picks right now. But Alexander Hernandez is way better than him. And at lightweight, he's actually good. For some reason, Alexander Hernandez looks good at lightweight, loses to a legit good lightweight like Drew Dober or Renato Moicano, who's now looked great ever since, and then decides, I know what I'll do. I'll go to featherweight where I'm terrible and lose to Bill Algeo and Damon Jackson. You know what I mean? He's a very weird fighter when he does that type of stuff. Does he take this at altitude if he knows he's not prepared? Why would Alexander Hernandez volunteer for an altitude fight if that's not something he's been working on? Because he knows he gasses out? Why would he put his hand up for this? This is very short notice for both of them. Where was Hubbard born? This is what we're going into for this fight card. He's... Chicago, Illinois. This guy's used to gunfight. I don't know. That heavy artillery, this guy was raised in that environment. I'm going to go with... Does it matter anymore, like, what I pick? Because anything's going to happen anyway. I'm starting to lose hope with the prediction game of MMA, you guys. At lightweight, he is pretty good. I liked his performance over Jim Miller. I'd probably have picked that Jim Miller to beat Austin Hubbard. You know? And Hernandez did beat up on him pretty much. It was a scrappy fight, but he did beat up on him and put a whooping on him. Yuck. I'm going to probably go with... Yuck. I hate this. I hate everything about this. I'm not happy about this. I'm not happy. I don't like doing YouTube anymore even. I'm not going to pour my heart out here. I mean, we got to move on, innit? We're going to flip a bottle of mayonnaise to the... This may be the fattest thing I've ever done on the channel, but I've done it before, so I can't really say that. In a true obese male fashion... I'm not that fat, but I guess I am. I don't have abs, so that's considered fat these days. Because you guys are so ripped. I keep forgetting. I'm going to flip a bottle of mayonnaise, and if it lands on the Heinz Seriously So Good Light Mayonnaise side, we're going to go with Alexander Hernandez. I mean, flipping a bottle of mayonnaise might unironically be a good way to determine a fight between two white guys. And if it lands on the nutrition side, which is all bad, we're going to go with Hubbard, I guess. It landed on its side. This is the problem. Oh, no, it tipped a bit. We're going with Alexander Hernandez here over Austin Hubbard. TKO. Early in the fight, Alexander Hernandez. He's better at lightweight. The mayonnaise has spoken on behalf of the mayonnaise showdown between Hernandez and Hubbard. We move on. Ihor Potieria versus Cesar Almeida. I'm going to go with Cesar Almeida. I think he's a way better striker. I don't see Ihor Potieria getting takedowns on him. Ihor Potieria makes a lot of mistakes on the feet. He beat that guy that's kind of mid that came to the UFC, that Polish guy that really shouldn't have been signed, but he was anyway. His name was Robert Brajcek. Other than that, he got smoked by Rodolfo Bilato, but he actually dropped Rodolfo Bilato, so he's a dangerous guy. However, Cesar Almeida's better than him. You know? He is far better than him. And if I'm not mistaken, this guy's training with Alex Pereira, and that is likely why he's on the same card as him right now. If I'm not mistaken. I wish I could find a picture proving it immediately, but if I'm not mistaken, this guy is actually training with Alex Pereira for this fight, which is a really good training partner for like fighting a dangerous striker that can finish you in Ihor Potieria. Obviously not the same way Alex Pereira can. He is training with Alex Pereira for this fight. I like that. I like that a lot. And he's a shorter, crispy, dangerous striker. That's actually a really good training partner for Alex to fight Khalil as well, because he's a good Muay Thai style striker as well. Damn, that actually reinforces my pick later. Who knows what it's going to be? I'm not giving it away, you guys. It's going to be a surprise who I pick. But guys working with Glover, we've seen that helps. A lot of these guys deal with takedowns. Stuffed all the takedowns off Budka, but Budka's awful at fighting. I'm going to go with Cesar Almeida. I think he's more dangerous on the feet, and I think he makes less mistakes. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. And I think when they both get tired in this fight, the guy who's got better striking defense is probably going to come out on top, because the flaws start to show as you get tired. And at altitude, you're going to get tired. And Cesar Almeida has less flaws to show. So I'm going to go with Cesar Almeida. Way less flaws to show. So I'm going to go Cesar Almeida getting this one done. I was going to make a terrible joke then. I'm not saying it. Marina Rodriguez versus Iasmin Lucindo. There's nothing up my nose. I'm just picking it anyway. I usually would go with Iasmin Lucindo here because she is the more masculine of the two of them. And that is almost but I'm going to take the underdog of Marina Rodriguez, because as much as I do kind of want to pick Iasmin Lucindo to back up and reinforce my belief that skill doesn't matter, logic doesn't matter, experience doesn't matter, performances against higher level competition doesn't matter, just pick the one that looks like a man matters. I don't want to. I deny it. I will refuse to allow that to be what women's MMA becomes. It's unfair. But no, I genuinely think Marina Rodriguez is a lot better of a fighter than her. And she did just go to a split decision with Jessica Andrade, who is very, that's the ultimate man of the strawweight division. So, it's a tricky one, isn't it? But Iasmin Lucindo beat up on Karolina Kowalkiewicz, got takedowns on that fight, had a great first and third, but, got scrappy in moments. I think Marina Rodriguez is better than that. This girl also took Brogan Walker to a decision not that long ago either. This was in 2023, like a year and a half ago. Took Yasmin Uregui to a decision and lost. Couldn't KO her. That's kind of telling. Uregui's shown to have quite a weak chin. Maybe those, whatever chromosomes correspond to man. Maybe this is, maybe they ain't too obvious in the system of Iasmin Lucindo. Maybe we're overthinking things. Maybe it's just a haircut. Maybe if she did have longer hair, we wouldn't be saying this. I'm going to go Marina Rodriguez. Better performances against better comp. You look at her recent record. Amanda Lemos, she lost, but that was an early fucking stoppage. Absolute fact. It was a really bad stoppage. Verna Jandiroba fight, the grappling came in. I don't think she's going to get out-grappled here. Beat up on Michelle Gomez really easily. Michelle Waterson, sorry. Really, really easily. Jessica Andrade split this. I'm going to go with Marina Rodriguez getting this one done by decision. 29-28. Yeah. Plus she swings with a lot more technique. Doesn't rely on the overswinging of shots as much. Feel like that's going to be good at altitude. I'm going to go Marina Rodriguez getting this one done, y'all. That's what I'm picking here, y'all. I'm going with her. So yeah. See you later. I mean, no, there's more. There's way more. We only just got started. Jesus. Stephen Thompson versus Joaquin Buckley. Wonderboy versus Buckley. You know what, guys? It's been fun. But I'm Team Buckley here, dude. Joaquin Buckley is going to beat Wonderboy Thompson, and you want to know why? Because he's not dumb. Okay? This guy shoots takedowns when he needs to shoot takedowns to get a win. He's not going to play this silly game where I'm just going to strike with a striker because I'm dumb and I'm a light heavyweight fighting Pereira. I just want to test my striking. It's 2024 and we're still doing this. Shoot a takedown on him, for God's sakes. He's on a 4-fight win streak. Looking better and better every fight. Dominating Nursultan Ruziboev. Clearly won the fight against Nursultan Ruziboev, who's like a good fighter, like a well-trained fighter. Even though his record's a bit ugly, he fought good comp to lose those fights. And, big welterweight as well. I'm going to trust a guy's surname of Ruziboev to have better takedown defense than Thompson. Sue me. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to go with Buckley. I think he'll find takedowns. And I think he'll beat up Wonderboy on the ground. I know people are going to say, well, Gilbert Burns couldn't do anything. Who's the last guy Burns has actually done anything to on the ground? Sorry. Neil Magny? Welcome to the club, buddy. You know what I mean? But, who's the last guy Gilbert Burns has actually, beat up on with his ground and pound? It doesn't really exist, so I'm going to go with Joaquin Buckley. I think he'll just be... Also, something I really like about this matchup for Buckley, he crashes in a lot, Wonderboy is not a straight right hand down the pipe Ignacio Bahamondes Manuel Torres, to quote a recent fight, to tell you what I'm talking about, as someone crashes in. He's not that type of guy. He's not the guy who's going to sting you with a right hand as you come in and then you just go out cold. Oh my God, the one punch KO from Wonderboy is back. He's not that guy. Buckley moves side to side a bunch. Wonderboy likes his flicky shots at range. He's a lineal fighter. He's like MVP in that way, where someone who moves laterally around him is going to naturally be more difficult for him to deal with as a striker. You know? Because he has that point fighting style, on a line, in and out. It's like the fencing of striking combat sports. You know what I mean? Point karate. Literally the fencing of striking sports, basically, is what it is. I'm going to go Joaquin Buckley. I can see a lot of the times Wonderboy going for something, Buckley shifting on the middle of a Tyson bob and weave into the inside thing, and maybe grabbing Buckley behind the back and getting a body lock and dragging him down and landing big shots. I'm actually going to go over Joaquin Buckley second round TKO. I think he's going to put a whooping on Wonderboy, and I think this is going to be the end of Stephen Thompson, you know? I mean, Wonderboy, although he might not be Mormon, he seems quite Mormon, so maybe retiring in front of the Salt Lake City crowd might be quite good for him. But I think he will retire here, and I think he's going to lose to Joaquin Buckley. This is going to be the moment. He's 41 years old, guys. 41. Did all right against Shavkat, to be fair. But I'll be honest with you, Shavkat's offensive takedowns have never been all that. I'm going to be real. They've never really been all that. So people say, oh, Shavkat, Wonderboy stuffed a few of his takedowns. And I'm thinking, he didn't really do that. You know what I mean? He does, like he can do, but it's not. He's a striker, can't he? Breaks you on the feet. That's what he does. And then if he ends up on top of you, it's trouble. But, I mean, another guy who's sub Neil Magny. Welcome to the club. But I'm going to go with Wonderboy. I mean, he got rocked by Holland in the early rounds. I know that Joaquin got slept by Holland, but he's not the same fighter that he was back then as he is now. I think people forget, didn't he take that fight on short notice as well? I know this was during Kevin Holland's moment of, maybe I'm off on that. I know it was during his 5 in a row. Yeah, he was. He did take that on short notice. He's supposed to fight D-Rod May 30th after Hernandez on May the 16th. Then he was supposed to fight Trevin Giles on August the 1st, and then it got postponed, and then Buckley came in. People don't give, Buckley did step up for that fight, up a weight class. Like, he was a welterweight on the regional scene, and he was like, no, I'm going to make a run at middleweight, and then, things didn't really go his way. So I'm going to go with Joaquin Buckley here to cut the story short. The Morono performance worries me, but I do think he'll be able to do what he wants in the grappling with Wonderboy. I just don't trust Wonderboy's grappling at this point in his career. And I like Buckley's side-to-side movement and dipping in on the inside. Wonderboy's not the guy to time you with a knee coming in. You know what I mean? He's not the type of guy to land a straight right hand as you come in or catch you with an elbow as you try and close the distance. He wants you at range so he can flick at you in a fencing style, and Buckley don't stay on the center line. So I'm going to go Joaquin Buckley. That's logic to me. We move on. Up the card, Roman Dolidze versus Kevin Holland. I'm going to go Roman Dolidze, guys. I don't like it, but Roman Dolidze's chin's all right. I don't see him getting chinned by Kevin Holland at middleweight. I do think Holland is pretty good at middleweight. Roman does a lot of work at altitude. I remember he's talking about he does a lot of hill climbs and climbing to the top of hills and mountains. That was his whole thing on Embedded, basically, for the UFC 303 pay-per-view. He's been active. He's staying active. That speaks to a lack of injuries. Holland's activity could be injured with whatever. You would never know, but he's still going to fight because he actually wants money as a fighter, rather than these other guys that are making 12 for 12 crying about it and showing up once a year. He got dropped by Oleksiejczuk, had some time, was supposed to be fighting Chris Curtis here. Roman Dolidze's been ready to step in on certain fights, especially when they get him on the main card of a pay-per-view. I hate that Wonderboy Buckley is not on the main card here. Have Holland bring in the prelim viewers, surely, and have Wonderboy Buckley on the main card. Either way, I'm going to go with Roman Dolidze. He was destroying the legs of Smith, taking him down. I think he'll be able to go to the legs of Kevin Holland, and if he gets top position on Kevin Holland, I think he'll be able to keep it, and don't trust Holland's late round finishing ability at altitude, so I'm going to go Roman Dolidze. I like Holland at welterweight. They're a bit better down there and way better than him. And maybe at middleweight he is a bit better, but against grapplers, I just don't like that for him. You know, Mikhail Alexiejczyk's a bruiser. He crashes forward. He tries to land big shots. Holland got a submission off of his back. I don't think Dolidze's going to be looking to get on top of him that early. I think he's going to be looking to stay on the feet. Don't get KO'd for a bit. Low kick the hell out of Holland, because Holland's open to low kicks a lot of the time. And eventually get the takedown. He's a big dude, Dolidze. He's going to have a lot of muscle advantage over Holland here. So I'm going to go Roman Dolidze getting this one done. And if he doesn't, Anthony Smith is literally the worst fucking fighter in the entire UFC roster. And that's announced as official. Going with Roman Dolidze. We move on. Kayla Harrison versus Ketlen Vieira. Main card, all good. I'm going to go Kayla Harrison. She's a man. No, I'm joking. There's reasons, I'm sure, if I think long enough. Give me a second, though. You know, Ketlen Vieira is trash. She's just a women's bantamweight fighter. Kayla Harrison has lats. Visible lats. Capped delts. Tossed around Alex Pereira. I know he's letting her do it, but he's a 230-pound man right now, and she's just fucking hip tossing him. It is no woman. God, you start letting them go in the other bathrooms, and now here they are in the UFC. You know what I'm saying? I'm joking. God, jeez, I'm joking. YouTube. What am I doing today? I'm gonna go with Kayla Harrison. You guys, I just got a hunch that she's gonna get this one done. To be fair, Ketlen did go to a split decision with Raquel Pennington. But again, I think that Kayla Harrison would fucking toss around Raquel Pennington and finish her. Like, I think she's going to be the champion. It's just about the weight cut. It's a 3-rounder, so I don't really worry about altitude being a cardio problem for any one of them. Vieira went to a split with Holly Holm, and Kayla Harrison committed a, as far as I'm concerned, a fucking domestic violence offense on Holly Holm. So I'm going to go with, like, Holly Holm was on the phone, like, pretending to ring a pizza company. You know what I mean? Yeah, the pepperoni is, yeah, extra pepperoni's hitting me in the face right now. You know? Stuffed crust. Yeah, my crust is being stuffed. She's in half guard. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. It's a really weird one. I'm going to go Kayla Harrison now. Getting this one done. We move on. Jose Aldo versus Mario Bautista. I'm going to go with Jose Aldo over Mario Bautista. Never doubt Aldo against he's a big dude. And I want to tell you why I'm going with Aldo over Bautista. This is an underdog pick. Mario Bautista's very good. But there's been a few fights in Mario Bautista's career where I've been like, are you that good, buddy? You know what I'm saying? Are you good enough to tangle with the Aldo? This is the question. Oh my God, give me a second right now. I'm going to have to pause right now, but I'm going to go with Jose Aldo. And I'll be sure to give you my reason in good time, you know. You give me some good time, and I'll sure give you a reason as to why I'm picking Aldo. Just give me a second within the recording here, because I need to move things to a different drive so I can have space to save this video within this drive. What is going on here? I mean, yeah. There we go. All right, we should be good to continue recording. I'm going with Jose Aldo. My computer storage files are trying to stop me from going with Jose Aldo, but I'm picking him to win because he's a physical guy. And there's been a few fights in Mario Bautista's career that I've just not been too satisfied with, you guys. I really have not been too satisfied with them. He's had some pretty close ones. The Damon Blackshear fight stinks to me. I don't like that for him, especially if it's like a prospect that I'm going to pick to beat the Jose Aldo. I mean, come on, you guys. Who does this guy think he is? You know, you're not going to go out there and just beat Aldo if I'm worried if you'll get the decision over Damon Blackshear. And then I look at the Ricky Simone fight and I think he's just been getting his ass whooped recently. You know, if anything less bad than he did against Mario Bautista. You know, Vinicius Oliveira did a number on him for 3 straight rounds. You know, I'm not liking it. I don't think Ricky Simone's the same guy that he was when he fought Uriah Faber in 2019, you guys. Hear me out here, okay? So I like Mario Bautista's record, but there are some, you know, look at the finishes that he's gotten. Brian Kelleher, Benito Lopez. These are fucking not UFC caliber guys. Guido Canetti. He's 10-6. You know, like, these are the finishes Mario Bautista's getting, and he's steamrolling these guys. But then Jay Perrin takes him to a decision in 2022, you know? And Jay Perrin is 12-8 right now. Got choked out in the first round by Raul Rosas Jr., you know? Not long after, Mario Bautista took this guy to a decision, you guys. You know? Lost to Aori Chweleng, who Rosas just beat. I mean, Rosas is just trashing the career of Mario Bautista as far as I'm concerned. That's not the only reason, no. Aldo's a very large bantamweight with a lot more steam on his shots than the rest of the bantamweights, and they don't realize that until they're in there with him. Like, you can be Jonathan Martinez and, like, fraud check Saeed Nurmagomedov just before. It still don't mean you're beating Aldo. He's going to school you. You know what I mean? And that's what Aldo did. I picked him to him, and he whooped up on Jonathan Martinez. Physical presence. I know the altitude thing does worry me, and I hate that they're even having Aldo take this fight. UFC says they respect legends. That's why they're doing the Miocic versus Jones fight. Aldo just fought Martinez. Now you're giving him Bautista? When is his Umar Nurmagomedov title elimination fight? I hope it's next after this, buddy. If Figueiredo beats Yan, he deserves a shot more than Umar. Let's be real. So I'm going to go with Jose Aldo. I think he's got way better striking than Mario Bautista on a technical level. I think the body work that he can go to at bantamweight, which he can do a lot more than he could at featherweight because he's not worried about too much that's coming back his way, is going to really help him here as well. Mario Bautista does have some steam in his shots, but he's not really a one-punch KO guy. I need you to be a one-punch KO guy if I'm even going to imagine you putting away Jose Aldo on the feet by a big punch. So I think Aldo's going to eventually feel like he's got more power. He's not getting walked down. Now he can go to the body, and I think that's going to be all of the favor at altitude. And before people say, Aldo's known for slowing down, it's at altitude, why would you pick that? Dude still stuffed all the takedowns in the third round against Merab after Merab was putting a hell of a pace on him by failing takedowns and kneeing him in the thigh because Merab's such a great fighter and everyone should call him really fun to watch and love him because he makes skits that only an 8-year-old would laugh at. Jose Aldo's great. He's a great fighter. I think Mario would not be at his level when they fight each other. I'm going to go Jose Aldo. I think he's still got it. I think you got to be Yan in a 5-rounder to beat him. Like, if you score that fight in the Yan versus Aldo fight based on rounds 2 and 3, it's close. It's a real close fight. Like, I'd still go Yan in a 3-rounder now, maybe, but Aldo's like a threat to a lot of these guys. He really is. I'm going to go, and the best performance we've seen in the UFC against Merab. You'd think altitude would be like, now Merab's really going to destroy someone at altitude. They'll break under his will. Merab was like desperately kneeing him in the thigh in that fight, failing takedowns. I think he went 0-16 on takedowns in that fight. I'm going to double check that right now just to make sure I've got the stats correct, but I'm fairly certain he legit went 0-16 in that fight. And the first and second round could go Aldo's way. But Merab was kneeing him in the thigh, so it doesn't go Aldo's way. We need to not value that. It really annoys me. He did go 0-16 on takedowns against Aldo. He shot 16 times. Aldo stuffed all of them, even in the third round. I'm going with Aldo over Mario Bautista. Don't see a grappling threat for him here. Don't see a striking threat for him. You got to hope he slows down, but he goes to the body real well at bantamweight, better than he has before. He started mixing in more low kicks than he has before. He's bigger than Mario Bautista. More powerful. Holds his ground way better. He's moving way more elusive on the back foot than he ever did at featherweight. Yeah. I'm going to go with Jose Aldo. Mario Bautista is actually a little bit bigger than him. But I'm going to go Jose Aldo. He's got a bit of reach to work with. That's always good for Aldo. I'm going to go Jose Aldo here. I'm going to go by Aldo. Decision, survives a tricky third round, but wins the first 2 clear. We move on. Raquel Pennington versus Juliana Pena. Sorry. Well, I'm doing a prediction video. Jesus. Yeah. Is what it is, isn't it? Because, like, I mean, Pena looked better against Nunes than Pennington did, but don't know, innit? Should have a drink or something while I think about this one. Pena's been out for a while. I mean, this really did slow down the momentum of the video here. Why they got to put this on the fucking card, man? She's 16-8 as a champion. She trains at altitude, which means so does Tecia Torres. My genius has worked. Okay? She trains at altitude in Colorado Springs. Apparently that's Denver's high altitude. I'm fucking right to pick Tecia Torres here. Let's go. I'm going to go with Raquel Pennington, you guys. Juliana Pena hasn't been in... She's 10-5 fighting for... She's 35 years old. Who are you? Like, what are you doing? Go away. Shoo. Yuck. You know what I mean? Just get lost. You're kind of hot, but like, God. Not enough for me to look over other things, you know? Not enough for me to be blind to other problems that I'm noticing here. I don't know. She did beat Nunes, though, didn't she? It's so silly. It's such a silly thing. She hasn't fought since the Nunes... Wait, why is she even getting a title shot? Hang on. She ain't fought since the Nunes fight in July 20... Who's... How good is the head game, Dana? This is what we need. I don't know what's going on here. She was signed up for the trilogy, I guess. So now they owe her a title shot. She got injured, pulled out. Pena withdrew. She's been out with injury for 2 years. Over 2 years. I'm going to go Raquel Pennington. Over the past 2 years, what has she done? Not much either. 2 fights. A split decision with Ketlen Vieira and a win over Mayra Buena Silva. I'll go Pennington. Altitude. She works a cage game up against the fence. And yeah, I'll go with her winning. Go Raquel Pennington. We move on. Up the card. Alex Pereira versus Khalil Rountree Jr. Guys, I don't know. I'm going to go with Alex Pereira by KO in the first round. Listen, the only reason I'm worried about this is because a certain group of MMA fans are all picking Khalil. They've all got a feeling about Khalil for some reason here. Certain group of MMA fans, you guys. I don't know, guys. I've got a feeling. Checks bio picture. Adds up. What a feeling you have. I bet Mr. Adolf had a similar... I'm joking. You know what I mean? It's just there's a certain group of MMA fans that are just constantly leaving messages. They're either a certain group or they're a people that watched a Joe Rogan short of this guy being called the best Muay Thai guy in the UFC because he looked great against Eric Anders. You know? We're in a clown world. We're in a clown world. I don't know what's going on anymore with this sport, but we're in Khalil Rountree versus Alex Pereira era. He's 13-5. This will not happen. This won't happen. My prediction won't allow this to happen. I'm going with Alex Pereira by KO in the first round. I'm going to say he just sleeps Khalil with a left hook. I mean, the guy was like getting hit consistently by Anthony Smith on short notice without the takedown threat being imposed. We can go through Khalil Rountree's recent performances. He outstruck Anthony Smith at a ratio of 53-47. The strikes were dead even in round 2. He got stung at one moment. He was up by a strike in round 1. Fair enough, it was the better strikes. And Smith did try takedowns. But I just don't value it. You know, like Smith is known to be weak to low kicks. Only 11% of Khalil's shots were to the legs. He got him in the third round, put him away. If you aren't catching Anthony Smith, dude, I swear to God, if this somehow happens, if you aren't catching Anthony Smith in round 1, you're not catching Alex Pereira in round 1. I don't care. And Smith took that on short notice. This is all going to be a bit much for Khalil, a bit sooner than he expected. He's going to pour out with a right hand and just get slept by a left hook from Pereira. That's my prediction. And I know Pereira's only 11-2 as well, by the way. This is kind of crazy, huh? Light heavyweight, huh? Great division, though. But it's like really fun. Like strikers in that. None of these like Umars and Marabs around, ruining everything. But, or Bilal's just coming in, just humping people up against a cage. We'll get there, though. And Khalil ever be here soon. And everyone will talk about how fun he is. He actually is a lot more fun than them, to be fair. He beat Chris Dorcas. Like, yeah. You know what I mean? Jacoby just straight up beat Khalil Rountree. I'm just going to say that again. He just straight up beat him and they robbed him. He outlanded him 120-85. Rountree was hitting nothing but shoulders and arms against Jacoby. Occasionally, a shot would get through. Jacoby outlanded him 34-20 in round 1, 39-35 in round 2, 47-30 in round 3 on significant strikes, and they just gave it to Khalil. It's a funny one. And he's not exactly exposing the low kick defense of these guys. Like, don't see the low kicks. And the only time Khalil looks like a savage is mysteriously when he's against Chris Dorcas, who's just a fat guy, but he was at heavyweight, so you can beat a few of them. Carl Roberson. Okay. You know what I mean? Modestas Bakauskas, who was doing all right against him before the knee injury, was getting outlanded, don't get me wrong, but didn't get caught in round 1 and put away. You know? So I'm gonna go with Alex Pereira here, you guys. I'm just not seeing a Marcin Prachnio. If by the end of this card, Marcin Prachnio is the lineal light heavyweight champion, I don't know what to think. Marcin Prachnio in 2021. I know Khalil might have improved. I get it. In 2021, Marcin Prachnio outlanded him 102-49, put on a clinic against him and schooled him. He didn't catch Prachnio and put him away. I really believe there is a minimal chance of this happening. The only reason I'm even thinking it could is because enough people that are either JRE fans or a certain group of our community are saying in the comments, I don't know, I've got a feeling about this. That's all I'm hearing. And that's enough to make me go, oh shit, maybe I've got a feeling about this. I don't know. But I'm just not seeing it, you guys. I mean, if Prachnio's the lineal champ come Sunday morning, and he just goes on a run out of nowhere. This guy got whooped by Kutalaba. The only thing fun about this to me in the main event is if like Pereira gets a sub. Khalil takes him down, Pereira just straight up triangles him from off bottom. That would be a crazy outcome. I will expect a KO. Disappoint me, MMA gods. Make no sense, MMA gods. Let him fluke it. He's not exactly a powerful guy. I'm going to go with Alex Pereira, TKO. Much more dangerous strikers have been in front of him and he keeps his composure and range. Checks low kicks well. Does his low kicks way better than they do. Goes to the body with the jab very well. I can just see Khalil just being like up on his lead leg with his little Thai stance. You can always hear the drums playing in the background. And then bang, he's been slept. I'm going to go with Alex Pereira. And also Pereira recently said that he's been dealing with a really bad injury when he got into the sport. And like only after the Jan Blachowicz fight did he really acknowledge it. And that's why he's been more active than ever recently, just taking these fights on short notice. And it would make sense, to be fair. It's kind of scary. I'm going to go Alex Pereira TKO, you guys. See you later. Goodbye.